I want to ask a couple questions of all of you. And the first one has to do with diversity, because I think if you look at all 5 of these films, Hidden Figures stars 3 African-American women. Loving is an interracial couple. 20th Century Women has 3 female leads of varying ages. Lion's lead character is an Indian young man and boy. Even Sully has a 60-year-old white-haired guy as the lead. That's not something you often see. How much do all 10 of you feel a personal responsibility to bring diverse stories to the screen? Or is that often hard to square with a commercial instinct? How do you balance all that? And any one of you can jump in and take it.
I feel a huge responsibility. It is frankly the only thing that interests me. But I'm going to say this. Producers always have to think with a creative half of their brain and a financial half of their brain. And, there's money in them thar hills, is what I am going to say. You cast women in the lead, and you will make money. I'd like to point out, with all due respect to Tom Hanks, who I love and is amazing in Sully, he's getting his ass whooped by Medea this weekend. So, I mean, diversity pays, is all I'm going to say.
Right. And that's Tom Hanks' other movie that she's talking about, not Sully. Sully's doing great.
I also think, it's important to the way that we make sense of life as a culture, as a society, as human beings, is through our storytelling. And film and television and theater and literature, these are all the stories that, at least for me, are how we figure out the world. And we can't just tell stories from one perspective. And quite frankly, the film and television industry has been doing, for the last 100 years, has been sticking pretty sharply to one perspective. And I'm really, I'm glad that we're starting to open up the perspectives and seeing storytelling from a much more diverse point of view. And it's essential, and it's important, and it is commercial, and it's not as challenging as people think it is. These are self-fulfilling prophecies when we say, well, the foreign sales, or well, it just won't work. You know what? If you try it and it's a damn good story, it will work, and people will want to see it, and they will engage with it, and these stories can start to shape the fabric of our lives.
Right, and then that will create the international value. Yeah. It is there. It's absolutely there. Don't just go by what's been done before.
The other thing I'd say is all 5 of these movies are true stories, which is another interesting fact when you think about it. I just was thinking about it that we were all here. I think these individuals on whom these movies are based speak to audiences, but I also think they really speak to actors. And if you're producing movies that generate the interest of the kind of actors that all these movies have been able to get, you're going to generate good movies, and therefore you'll find an audience.
I think also, films are a bit of a window on the world, and for way too long that window's been very specifically pointed. With a very particular view. So I think it just is that we should be telling stories that are diverse, because the world is diverse. And then I think also, what's changing now is that maybe from people who control the purse strings, there's trusting the audience, I think, a little bit, that a good story, whatever the diverse makeup of that story might be, will be celebrated by all of the audiences. And I think that that's a bit of a shift that's happening now.
Representing the least diverse film of the group, for me, I very much always believe in the 2 hats, meaning, obviously we took very seriously the responsibility of entertainment, but also, every film that we're developing or that I've made in the past, I feel like my responsibility is to understand why would somebody want to get off their couch and go to the theater and spend that money. So in my brain, I'm always thinking about, what is my sales hook for myself? Why would somebody come to the theater? But then the other part to me, which, you aspire to do, which is why Todd was such an incredible partner, is, to me, you go into a dark room because you surrender to an experience, and I feel it's very important to inspire each other somehow. And I found the Sully story very inspiring. I don't know if you want to add to that, but there has to be another. I never look at it like, well, if we sell a lot of tickets, great. I always try to look at it in terms of it's part of your soul. We go to a dark room and we open our souls up to an experience. So,
yeah, I would just say the story is always the thing that grabs me. I've in 3 decades, there's not one time that I thought about who's going to go see this and how's it going to make money. If the story moved me and someone was willing to pay me to write that story, I pursued it, or I wrote it on my own on spec. So it's got to move me at its heart. So the next movie that I'm doing, that I'm producing and co-wrote, the co-lead is a 14-year-old Roma girl who's a political asylum seeker. So I'm going to need some help on finding someone that no one's ever heard of before. But she carries the movie, and she's going to be against, toe-to-toe against a movie star, but it's her movie. So, but that story I told because it broke my heart, not because I thought it through.
Right.